Republican Iowa Senator Joni Ernst is facing a tough reelection battle. The numbers aren't looking good for her. In fact, some polls show that her Democratic opponent is in the lead. And she's starting to realize, hey, you know what? Maybe aligning myself with a president who fails at everything isn't such a good idea. So in her attempt to distance herself from Trump, she gave really strange answers in an interview on CNN over the weekend. I want to show you the first clip where there's a discussion about protesters and how Trump has demonized them.
Senator, as somebody who did fight in combat to protect the freedoms that you just talked about, would you agree, seeing what's happening out there, the protests, that the majority are actually peaceful and not the way the president described them?
Yes, I do think that there are so many peaceful protests, and that's exactly the kind of discussion and exhibition that we want to see, peaceful protests, and I support those peaceful protesters. But what we can't allow is violence and that type of disruption and destruction of whether it's personal or private property, public property. We can't allow that to happen. But again, we all need to come together. We need to sit down and we need to have some very real, very hard discussions. If we want to improve our country, we all need to come together.
You know who should engage in a hard and difficult discussion and do it from a place of honesty? Joni Ernst, if she thinks that she's going to have people buy any argument. Like, she's trying to straddle this line between the anti-Trump members of her constituency and the pro-Trump members of that constituency. And the truth is that answer was, it was dumb. It was a dumb answer. Okay, that's like the best way to say it. Oh, no, the protesters are great. They're so peaceful. I mean, we can't have that violence. The violence is really bad, the violence. But the peaceful protesters, but we can't have the violence and the destruction. Peaceful protesters, though. Do you think we're stupid, Senator Ernst? She thinks we're stupid. And I love watching her struggle. I don't know what to do. I've aligned myself with a loser and a failure. So I'm gonna try to lie to the American people. Here's the thing, she has no principles. She is the standard politician that grates on everyone's nerves because there is no moral compass, there are no ethics, there's no political identity. The only thing that she shares with all the rest of these grifting politicians is her obsession with power. What do I need to do? How many lies do I need to tell in order to keep a firm grasp on my power? But people are a little smarter these days, Joni Ernst, and your answer was a non-answer. It was dumb.
Yeah. Well, the last part I'm not so sure about. Look, I don't get into this whole thing that American people are stupid. I just think that they lack information in the short term. And it's really not a euphemism, I really mean that. Having said that, man, people around politicians feed into their smarminess. So let me explain. To me, that was a prototypical political answer. Talking out of both sides of your mouth. First starts with a Diane Sawyer fake concern look as she's waiting for the question. Okay, and then she moves on to peaceful but violent, whatever you want to hear, that's what I have for you guys. But you guys all know that already. What you might not know is that in my brief political run, what I noticed was people around politicians encouraging that kind of smarminess and not being skeptical about it, both on the Republican and Democratic side. You had a lot of people, all the infrastructure, so all the people running the clubs, all the people that are like the most diehard loyal political folks. When politicians spoke in super obviously fake ways, they loved it. They ate it up. So I guarantee you, there's a whole heap of Iowa Republican leaders going, Joni Ernst, so good. The way she's concerned about everybody but nobody at the same time, it's just perfect. She's right for our community, right? Guaranteed that's what they're saying. Now, look, the thing is, overall, now back to the main political discourse in this country as it affects the United States Senate and the presidency. Ernst is trying to course correct here by a couple of degrees when they're running straight into the iceberg. A couple of degrees ain't gonna cut it. So you gotta lean heavy on that wheel away from Trump if you want to win, even in places like Iowa. For her to be losing to someone who has no name recognition. I could barely remember Teresa Greenfield's name. I think that's who's running against her. And I'm neck deep in politics. So nobody in Iowa knows her, who she's running against. And she's still down 3 points because people think she's with Trump. She's got to lean super hard against that. Otherwise, she's going to lose. Remember, Obama won Iowa. So it's not like it can't be done. It could definitely be done in Iowa. So Ernst is in way more trouble than she realizes with this, tiny variance from Trump.
She struggled in this next question because she first tried to not answer it, but I gotta give Dana Bash some credit. She did ask a follow-up, and I absolutely love this, so let's take a quick look.
You criticized President Obama in 2014 for his handling of the Ebola outbreak, saying that he showed, quote, failed leadership. Only 2 people in the US died from Ebola. Right now, there are almost 130,000 Americans dead from coronavirus. So if President Obama showed failed leadership then, do you think President Trump is showing failed leadership now?
Well, I think we all have responsibility in stopping the spread. And certainly I've heard some of the discussions earlier. Wearing a mask is entirely appropriate. Social distancing is entirely appropriate. We have seen, I think, 1 additional death in the last 24 hours here in Iowa. So it is something that we absolutely should be paying attention to.
Is the president right now exhibiting failed leadership?
Well, no, I think that the president is stepping forward, and we have Vice President Mike Pence that is spearheading the task force efforts on the coronavirus. And so understanding where this came from, how it developed, of course, the pushback that we got from the Democrats when the president did try to shut down travel from some of those hot spots.
No, Joni Ernst, no. The Democrats are not the problem here. The question was about the leader of this country, Donald Trump, and whether he has failed in his COVID-19 response. And he has, without a doubt, failed. And I want to hold the media responsible for this because the press keeps reporting about Joni Ernst as if she is distancing herself from Trump. But understand that she is not doing that. She's not distancing herself from Trump. Distancing yourself from someone is clearly saying that you disagree with what they did, or in this case, in this context, Joni Ernst, if she were really distancing herself from Trump, she would say that Donald Trump's response to coronavirus has been a failure and a disaster. And when I compare it to how Obama handled Ebola, I realize I was wrong about Obama. Donald Trump has failed. That is what distancing sounds like and looks like. That's not what Joni Ernst is doing. So for all of these media outlets who are like, ooh, Joni Ernst, oh my God, wow, she's look so strong. No, she's not strong. What I just saw right there was weakness. I saw fear. And I saw someone who's flailing, doesn't know what she's doing, and she's terrified of losing her power. She has no guiding principles whatsoever. And just to remind you of where she's at in the polling, Cenk mentioned this earlier, but Ernst is locked in an increasingly competitive Senate race in Iowa, a traditional swing state, against Democrat Teresa Greenfield, who led Ernst by 3 percentage points in a Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll published last month. So if you have friends or family member in Iowa, if you're in Iowa yourself, please encourage people to go out there and get this pathetic politician voted out of the Senate, period.
Yeah. Look, there's some great progressives in Iowa. J.D. Schulten is running for Steve King's old seat. You should support him. But look, honestly, at this point, I want to get rid of these, both Trump and his enablers in the Senate and all over Congress so badly. Sight unseen, Teresa Greenfield, definitely all in. Let's go, beat Joni Ernst. So now I want to make a couple points here. I thought the most relevant part of that clip that we just showed you was the Pence pivot, when she's like, no, Trump's fine, but Vice President Pence has been great, and I'm all about Pence, and Pence is, oh, I see. Now what they're gonna do is, Trump, who's Trump? I don't know who Trump is, but I like Pence. So that's their way of backing the administration without talking about how great Trump is. So Anna, you're so right about the main point you made. Because if you notice, there is no direct quotes that you could take out of that interview of Joni Ernst saying something negative about Trump. Because if she does, it could hurt her with Republican voters. So the mainstream media gift wraps it for her. She gets credit, blaring headlines all over. Ernst distancing herself from Trump. She gets credit for the distancing without any damaging quotes that might hurt her with Republican voters, because she didn't actually distance. She just praised Mike Pence. She minimized the problems. She said that, yes, some of the protesters were peaceful. She didn't actually do it, but they gave her credit for it. With the exception of Dana Bash, who did a great job in that interview of doing tough questions and follow-up questions that were appropriate. And look, one last thing on this, and that goes to Dana Bash's question there. Ebola virus, 2 people die. Fox News loses their mind. Benghazi, 4 people died. Fox News talks about it nonstop. There were 33 hearings in Congress over Benghazi. 4 people died. 132,000 deaths. If it was a Democratic president, my God, if it was Hillary Clinton, Fox News would have a running count of the death toll every single day, every single hour, every single minute. And these Republicans are trying to minimize 132,000 deaths on their watch. Don't ever forget that.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.